Hey ballers, welcome to If These Balls Could Talk with a couple of fellas tough as leather and just like talking together. That's right, this is Mark along with John. And as a kind reminder, if you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. John, do I have to repeat that intro?
No, I did it so good.
Okay. No. I didn't know if I messed it up.
No, you're fine. We don't care about that. Pete, are you proud of me?
This is week 2 of John being the producer.
Never mind. I talked too soon. I screwed up.
We forgot to hit record.
Oh, shit. We forgot to hit record. That's going to fuck everything up.
That's okay.
Here, I'm gonna start that, and we're going to start over. I just got to press the right buttons. How is everybody?
Save it for the show.
All right, fine. Whatever.
All right, everyone. We will get started as soon as we.
There we
go. We are now recording. So we're gonna start this over again. The last 2 minutes didn't happen.
Well, we're gonna start recording. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
All right, do your intro.
Hey ballers, welcome to If These Balls Could Talk with a couple of fellas tough as leather that love talking together. That's right. This is Mark along with John. And as a kind reminder, if you like what you hear or see, please hit that subscribe button. Tonight, we welcome to the podcast Steve Mercier. Good evening, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show, sir.
It's be a lot of fun.
And look, it's Little Pete again.
Yeah, we got Little Pete and Little Pete. No,
Lil Pete.
Little Pete.
Pete, that's your rapper name.
John, how you been?
Our YouTube is not recording. What?
What do you mean our YouTube is not recording?
You keep talking. You talk to Steve. Talk about your day.
I see us.
You see us, right? I'm not gonna worry about it then.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna worry about it. It's all good. I am good. I got to hang out with my good buddy Steve the other day, and had a really good day at work, and still rocking the vitamin D and feeling really good about that. That's been awesome, and not ready for Christmas. Are you ready for Christmas, Mark?
Not ready for Christmas. All my neighbors have decorated their houses for Christmas. I have yet to decorate. I don't know, Steve. Do you decorate for Christmas at all?
We do. You know, we've got the tree up, and then we've got totes that are still sitting around waiting to get emptied. And usually, my wife does her decorating in like spurts all across the house, and it takes her a very long time to get that to where she wants it. And then Christmas is already here and gone, and then so.
I've got it to a point where
we'll get a few things.
Yeah, I've got it to a point in my house. It doesn't actually take that long to decorate, with the exception of maybe putting up the outside lights. But I don't have that many outside lights to put up, so I don't know. We'll see. I think I might get it done tomorrow. But anyway, let's get to know our guest a little bit better, shall we?
Yeah.
Now, Steve, your kids are very active in sports, and I hear that you were somewhat of a high school sports star yourself. So what is the best part of watching your kids play and love something that you loved? Also, are you more of a coach or a fan with your kids?
Oh, that's a good question. So watching the kids play, I'm their number one fan. That's it, right? And I was always, as an athlete, when I was an athlete, I wouldn't say I'm an athlete any longer, but age.
We play one on TV.
But yeah, right. But when I played, I was pretty boisterous. I was always the loud cheerleader on any of one of my teams that I played, and so that's me even now. I'm usually the loudest dad. My wife Denise next to me, she is also very loud.
Nice.
But we're very cheery, right? We're never the type of people that are like kind of busting up. Like,
you're not doing like F you.
I mean, the refs are fair game between the whistles, right? But as soon as the game is over, that's over, right? Stuff like that. But we're really big time cheerleaders. My son wrestles, and we were at a tournament the other day, and our voices were just booming across the gym. It was a little embarrassing because I was like, wait, nobody else is cheering.
You're like, it's fine. It's totally fine.
Right? It's not like a whole team. Yeah. But watching the kids play, it's a lot of fun because you can see some of the things that you kind of work with them on and all these things, and like especially with my son, and we've worked on a bunch of different things, and just seeing him start to kind of grow and blossom. I did coach him for a while when he was younger, in baseball for most of it, and just have always kind of been there for him. But it gets to a point though with your kids that you're like, if you're that really active parent, it gets to a point where you're like, I need to not coach him anymore, right? Right? They just don't want to listen to me
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's all they've been doing for the past so many years, and I don't blame them. Listening to somebody coach it for a bunch of years, after a while, it
When you're
starts to
telling
get
them what
old.
to
So they
do all
need
the
to get that
time,
information.
you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's not just
Well,
sports, right?
right.
Right.
Yeah, and so it's good to have them get a good fresh perspective. It's good for you as a parent also to be like, oh yeah, there's different little things that these coaches are doing. And when you're that parent who wants to be really involved, I've always approached the coaches this way. Hey, listen, we are a team together. We want to reinforce what you're doing here on the
Hmm?
field. The lessons that you're teaching there, we're going to reinforce those at home. So that's been a really positive thing. And remind me of your second question. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, you pretty much answered it already. If you were more of a coach or a fan, with the comes to your kids. I mean,
Uh,
so yeah, you
Yeah.
used to coach them. What sports do they play? You said wrestling.
So my son plays football. He wrestles and he runs track. And my
Does he have a
daughter,
favorite?
she is. I would say probably football is his
Okay.
favorite. Um, yeah. Uh, I was. He played baseball for a while and he loved it, but it was a very social. A lot of his friends and stuff like that. And he was good. Um, but decided to kind of switch some gears and he went and started running track and does pretty well with that too. But my daughter, she plays soccer right now, and she'll play softball in the spring. And she'll probably. It's funny, we're sitting there at a team meeting the other day with the wrestling coach for winter sports, and my daughter was there, and the coach looked at her. He's like, "Oh yeah, so what grade are you in?" He goes, "Well, you gonna start wrestling?" She's like, "What? No, no,
She's
I don't
like,
want to
no,
do."
no, that doesn't sound good at all.
Yeah,
That's a thing now,
this is
right?
probably a lot of fun.
Girls can
Well, girls
wrestle.
can do
Yeah,
anything boys can do.
it really is. Yeah, it really is. I've seen a bunch of girl wrestlers on the high school team do some really great stuff. There's this one girl who's just an absolute beast. I just like watching her wrestle. She's just really great. She's all over the place. Her dad's like a jujitsu black belt who knows like, things out of like it's wild. It's just
20,
wild watching.
10 different ways to kill a man with her pinky.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's pretty great. So yeah,
Hey.
there you go.
Mark really likes the soundboard a lot, Steve.
I love the soundboard. I love the soundboard.
Unfortunately,
I wish we could have more than what do we have? 16 or 12?
Like 6, but we can pay
Yeah.
for more, but I don't think we should.
Maybe
We
one
can do
day.
a Patreon for it. That'll be good, right?
One day. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. And people would watch. People would pay for our Patreon. If these balls could talk after dark. And I guess on that, we're going to transition to the second interview question. So I was lucky enough to get a glimpse into the world of Strat-O-Matic Baseball with you on Tuesday night. Thanks for the invite, by the way. Strat-O-Matic Baseball, for anyone who doesn't know, is a sports-based, baseball-based board game known for its statistical accuracy and realism, creating decks of real-life teams over the course of baseball history with accurate representations of their stats in the odds of a roll of 2 six-sided dice. So I wanted to spend some time on the show explaining it to Mark and the listeners so they too can be stuck thinking about the infinite possibilities like I am. So how'd you start? And what is it, by the way, Steve? Let's start with that.
yeah, sure. So from like 10,000 feet, Strat-O-Matic is Dungeons and Dragons but baseball.
I was gonna say it sounds like Dungeons and Dragons in baseball.
It is Dungeons and Dragons in baseball, Mark. Oh my God.
So it's a dice roller game. Everything is probability and statistics, but the cool thing about it is that all of the statistics that are provided are from real players, from real historic players. I mean, you can even get last year's cards if you wanted to for certain players. So, and how, I think this is how they do it. I think when there's the Hall of Famer cards, and then there's like regular individual teams. So you can get like the 61 Yankees. Um, but the Hall of Famer cards, like, they take the average of their best 6 years or something like that throughout their career. and then those are the statistics that you get to work with. So the first time we did it with all of the historical players, all the Hall of Famers, and we just built teams like that, like a fantasy football draft, just the same way. We just had all these players. We all had our certain teams that we would play, and just kind of roll them out. And that was a lot of fun because you would get these weird matchups, and the conversations that you would start would be like, Nolan Ryan versus Babe Ruth. And
I would love that matchup.
Right? And it's dice probabilities, but it's pretty accurate. Like it's fairly like this is roughly probably how this would go about. So it's just interesting. It's a lot of fun to just dream, like brings up the kid in
Sure.
you when you're watching baseball and stuff like that. But we've graduated kind of and moved this up a bit more, and so now we just draft individual teams, and then we do we have our starting rotations. We have our one guy Brian Vigiani. He goes ahead and he manages all the stats for the league, and once a week puts a newsletter out for it. And in there's the prior week's box scores, winning pitchers, strikeouts, hit leaders.
He goes through the box score and he puts it up. That's super cool, man.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah, and he writes a little something up too. So this is about because John was mentioning on Tuesday I went. I think it was the ninth. I can't remember my team. I think it's the 71 Brewers or something like that. 70 Brewers, something like. Anyway, I can't remember exactly who the team was that I had, but anyway, basically, I had a no-name pitcher. He was like the fourth in their rotation, and it was like Tom Jones or Paul Smith or some very generic names.
A completely unmemorable person who was not known for baseball.
Very much, and he ended up throwing 15 strikeouts over 13 innings.
Like Tom Jones.
Yeah, right. And so it's just one of those things. So anyway, like the pitcher, as you're rolling the dice, there are so many innings that they're allowed to pitch where there's no fatigue. But there is a penalty, and you can gamble that penalty, which is what I did. And so I think it's like if they get 3 walks or 3 base hits or 3 home runs or any sort of combination of that, 3 in a row of something, then when you roll what could have been a strikeout is now probably a single, right? So it starts to try to emulate the game if you have a pitcher that's getting tired. And so I just kept gambling and kept on winning. But these games that are pretty fun because we get teams like the 61 Yankees playing against the 80, was it the Mets? I'm not a Mets fan, sorry.
The 86 Mets?
86 Mets. Yeah. So you get like the 61 Yankees versus the 86 Mets, and you get Doc Gooden versus Mickey Mantle. So you can still get that.
That'd be a good matchup.
Apparently the 98 Yankees lost.
Yeah, that would be an amazing matchup. Yeah.
What?
So it's a lot of fun.
Apparently.
It's a very social thing.
That's super cool. And they had like 4 different tables of guys, and there was beer involved, which makes it better. I mean, it seemed really great. And I was shocked. I was like, I have never heard about this thing. Steve was like, do you play Strat-O-Matic Baseball? I'm just like, no. But we play everything. I mean, we seriously, we try to get our hands in everything. And I had never heard of a sports-based role-playing game, which I was like, wow, this is great. I mean, Mark's in the fantasy league I told you about on Tuesday. Mark's in my fantasy league, as well as Pete, and I'm in a dynasty league that I'm trying to get Mark into. I mean, we do a lot, but this seems like the next level.
That sounds like it's a good way to get me involved in role playing games.
Yes, this is what I'm talking about.
Steve, I've had a bunch of friends that have been trying to get me into D&D, and I just like almost refuse. But I do like the sports.
Mark
so
likes,
maybe
Mark
this
likes
would be a
sports.
nice little this could be the gateway drug.
I was 100% the same exact way as you.
A sports
really,
gateway drug?
I'm not much. Yeah, and I didn't think I was gonna like it at all. I'm like, what the heck?
You're like, what did I get into?
No, I never did. Never interested in me. Nothing like that. No. But yeah.
No, I mean, do you play it now? Because that's the end game for some of my friends. They want me to play D&D.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you found nerdy friends, man. I'm so proud of you.
Yo, you're one of them.
Yeah, that's right. No, I mean, you're bigger nerds than me. All right, we're at time.
All right. So, Steve, we'd actually like your opinion on a frequent topic of the show, AI. Now, we actually utilize a couple of AI tools, including ChatGPT for our scripts and Opus Clip to run our socials, or to help us with our socials. Now, what are your thoughts as a marketing professional about utilizing AI, including possible benefits or even drawbacks?
So, yes and yes, right? Like, so I think
Yes and yes.
He's like, yes.
yeah.
Next topic.
Yes, AI is certainly moving the workflow faster, right? And I do love it. I love the fact that I can get copy written in a matter of seconds, and not for just the task at hand. I mean, I've got my whole social media program for the year mapped out. Like,
Wow.
I did it in I think I
Like an
less
hour.
than 20 minutes.
Yeah, right.
But really, like I just was like, yeah, okay, we're gonna do. I want you, we were gonna run through. I just said, we're gonna run through the, Facebook and Twitter and Insta, and like, give me all this and provide these. And it's like, yeah, cheers. And like I was just like, oh my god, right, that's done. Okay, now what can I do? And as a marketer, that that's going to be it's also going to be our downfall too, because it's going to be like, well, now I can do more, and now I can do more, and I think that's going to be a big thing for many of us. I think we're going to, there's the possibility of increased burnout because we're able to just do more because we're automating more, right? So now we're building a bigger we're building a bigger pie that we can still eat. We're still building this big pie that we're like, oh, and we're just because we're going to do more, and we're going to be able to figure out how to even do things even a lot faster. Eventually, right? Someday we all think that, oh, well, then we can just step back and never have to work again. And I don't think that that's ever going to be.
Well, that's what a lot of people are thinking. So you're the first one that I've heard that has brought up AI causing burnout, because a lot of people seem to think AI should be making their lives a lot easier and work a lot easier. So that's the first time I ever hear that AI could cause possible burnout for people.
Well, that makes a lot of sense too, because
Right.
just the idea of the task not being the creation anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
The task is the organization and the selecting. And so if you can write 5 pages of copy in 20 minutes, not even 20 minutes, and have it be really grammatically kind of perfect, I mean, there's no extra work on it, then you can just do more, right? And that makes sense to me. Are you concerned at all?
Yeah,
And maybe not your marketing or general marketing, but like false news, false marketing, things that are being created out of the air.
Gosh. Yeah. I think, and we're already seeing it, right? And then obviously we all know we're already seeing it. There's tons of deep fakes already. That's only going to get better and better and better and better. I don't know. Are we eating ourselves? From a media standpoint, maybe. I have no idea. Because I think that we're how are we ever going to really be able to tell what's being told to us is truth? I don't think we can now. And I just think it's going to be even harder, down the road. I don't know how to turn it off. I don't know. Like I don't know how we're going to get through it. I don't know. It's going to be very strange.
Do you feel there needs to be any kind of regulation with regards to deepfakes? And if so, how do you regulate that? How do you monitor it?
I think it would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Right? If everybody could stay in the lane. Right?
Yes.
It would be right? It would be wonderful. We all know that that's impossible. No one's going to do that.
That won't happen. Yeah.
It won't happen. It absolutely won't happen. So, even with regulations, right? Even if
people will find ways around
United
it.
States, absolutely. If the United States try to regulate the internet, good luck. They've been trying for years. Right? Like, how are you going to, right? Like, how are you going to regulate something that you can backdoor everywhere for
Yeah.
everything.
Or even like, and that's just talking about domestic. You have international states too. I mean, between China and Russia, the hackers in both of those countries. I mean, what can we seriously do against
their hackers
people
are
in
better
those
than
countries?
ours too. I mean,
their hackers are a
because
lot
there's
better.
more of them.
They've been doing it longer.
Yeah, us three here do not stand any chance. Whatever, as much as we would love to.
Thank
hope.
God
That's
for
what
that.
I tell
Thank
my
God
users.
they're regulating it.
That's what I tell my users all the time. I mean, and they're like, "What can I do to protect myself and protect my computer?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, antivirus is mostly a security blanket. If somebody wants to hack you, they're going to. I mean, they are empirically. There's not a lot you can do about it, unfortunately. You can be safe with your credentials. You can not duplicate.
That's such a downer to start the show on.
I mean, it's true. You can be safe with your credentials. You cannot duplicate your passwords. Don't duplicate your passwords, everyone. That's the worst habit that people have. But like,
John, you're such a downer.
For the audio customers,
you're the new Debbie Downer.
I made an Italian shrug. I made an Italian face for the audio people.
All right, let's get this show back on the road. Are we ready to kick off this shindig?
Hell yeah.
All right, I got a first topic. Ready? First topic!
You know we have an air horn, Mark.
Yes, but we don't have an air horn that says first topic.
That is true.
All right. So, as of this taping, tonight starts Week 14 in the NFL season, and believe it or not, we've yet to officially discuss MVP candidates.
Yeah, we've been talking about CJ
Just
Stroud
about
for
how
3
much
weeks.
he loves CJ Stroud. Let me finish.
3 weeks.
I said we haven't officially made this a topic. All right. But yes, John has definitely mentioned CJ Stroud and how he's helped turn the Texans into a legitimate team. However, the odds-on favorites are Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, I don't quite get that one, and Jalen Hurts. Of course, you can't forget about the dynamic skill players, including Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, and CeeDee Lamb. So everyone, who do we think will actually win the NFL MVP, and who do we actually think deserves it the most?
I think that if the season ended today, which is the nature of this question, I guess, that Jalen
Not necessarily.
Hurts. But I think if the season ended today, Jalen Hurts wins it.
Okay.
And if not Jalen Hurts, CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is having a ridiculous season. I think he's breaking 1 million records. But besides last week...
Well, Tyreek Hill has better numbers than CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, that's true.
Tyreek Hill is on pace to break the season record for yards. And he is potentially going to do it in the 16th game, so no one has to say, well, because Megatron was the one has the record right now. He did it in 16 games. But at Tyreek Hill's pace, he will actually break it, I think, in the 16th game, so there won't be that asterisk about him breaking it.
I mean, besides being abused by the 49ers last week, the Eagles are still by and far the best team in football. 10-2. Many things they do are unstoppable. I mean, you still can't stop Jalen Hurts. You still can't stop AJ Brown. I mean, just there's a lot of the Eagles that is hard to beat.
Steve, what about you?
Yeah, I can't disagree, honestly. I don't see CeeDee Lamb though. Yes, he's having a phenomenal season, but I think it just would be really.
And they don't really ever
wide receiver.
They don't ever give it to skill players.
MVP.
Almost ever, right?
Yeah, Dak Prescott on that team. Dak Prescott, I think, has got a much better shot at that. He is really having.
He is currently the odds-on favorite. He is currently the odds-on favorite.
I don't see why. Yeah, of course, right? But here's the thing: he's finally having the year that he should have been having for the last 10, right, or however long he's been in the NFL. I think that, right, like. He's. I don't see Dak Prescott as an elite quarterback. I think he's a good
I don't either.
quarterback, but I don't think he's elite.
I don't think he's worth his contract.
I agree, but he's having a hell of a year this year, and and he should. I mean, he's got quite a bit of tools around him, but he's actually for the first time fun to play. Coming from a Giants fan, that's hard.
That is hard to say. What do you think the addition of Brandon Cooks did for that team? Because I mean, the difference between Dak Prescott this year and the Dak Prescott last year was pretty significant, honestly.
They have 3 legitimate wide receivers in CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and Michael Gallup. I mean, that's probably the best wide receiver tandem in the NFL.
Yeah, probably. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Right,
Michael
like,
Gallup, I think, came off
you
of
look at
an
all
injury, a
these-
big injury last year. So I think that's why Michael Gallup didn't really have a good year last year.
Yeah, I don't remember him having much of anything last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So we'll
well,
see. Now I've said it on this show multiple times. I actually think Mike McCarthy is going to get fired at the end of this year. This is what the Cowboys do, right? They rock hard during the regular season. Come
Rock
playoff time,
hard.
though, we'll see. Now with the Eagles losing to the 49ers last week, and this week the Eagles and Cowboys are playing each other. If the Cowboys actually beat the Cowboys have a chance to win the division and even potentially be the number 1 seed.
Which would be very interesting.
It would be very, very interesting. Here's the thing, though: Cowboys have yet to really beat a winning team this year, so it's the chances of them actually beating the Eagles, and the Eagles are bad. The Eagles are mad that they lost the 49ers.
They're mad they got their asses handed to them by the 49ers.
Yeah.
What I think is actually really interesting
they might have been looking a week ahead.
Yeah. What I was going to say is that what I think is really interesting in the NFC is kind of what that second wild card is going to be, and it's really shaping up to kind of.
And they're going to play on the road against probably the whoever wins the NFC South or North.
Jacksonville.
Well, right now, we have the Pack who are on a roll. We have the Lions. Oh, not the Lions, but we have the Rams who are on another roll. The Seahawks who are mad they lost. There's a lot
of quiet teams going on that are actually really good in both the AFC and the NFC.
And besides the Joshua Dobbs experiment finally failing, the Vikings get Justin Jefferson back this week.
They do. So is it actually going to fail if the Vikings do really well?
Well, that's
the Vikings still have a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah. One of those.
They've already.
Do.
He'll play.
No, Justin Jefferson will play, but who knows who's going to be the quarterback? That's still
no. They named Josh Dobbs as starting quarterback.
Oh, they did. Cool.
So, yeah.
Cool. I think that final wildcard team is really going to come down to the last couple of weeks and some of those inter-team NFC intermatches.
So who do you think actually deserves NFL MVP versus who's going to win it? John, I'm assuming you think it's CJ Stroud.
Yep, I do, by the way. I think that
Steve, what about you? You know who my pick for NFL MVP is? Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, that is good.
He should be the actual MVP.
Good one. Yeah. I think that there could also be a case to be made that having a player that went down very early can really have that kind of an impact.
Yeah.
MVP. Someone like a Cooper Kupp, right? Or I'm not saying he would be in the running, but I'm just saying like that had such an impact early on in the season, for the team that they are just struggling to rebound from it. And we might be seeing that now, right? Where you're talking just a moment ago, you're talking about we've got teams that are kind of surging in this mid to late season.
Yeah.
We're coming into the later third, right? We're going to start to see that, some of those players, they might have that full body of work like a Jalen Hurts, right? But they might be able to, like this last few, how many more weeks do we have regular season?
It's about 4.
4. Right, 18 weeks,
4.
17 games.
Yeah, right, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Who should, right now, I think it's Jalen Hurts to lose.
Yeah. I mean, if, and that still is an if because the team is very, very young, but if the Texans compete in the playoffs after going 3-13 or 3-14 last season, with the addition of Jalen Hurts and Tank Dell, who is now injured, which makes it a little more challenging. I think that the turnaround is really impactful, and that's for all like the impact of MVP in professional sports teams. You have to judge them on impact, like not even
absolutely
like a statistics.
That's why they call it valuable and not outstanding, right?
Exactly.
Right.
All right.
He's fun to watch, though, isn't he?
Woo.
Oh.
The tush push, the brotherly shove.
I saw a TikTok. I think I said this last week. I saw a TikTok of him squatting 600 pounds, and he's not even like he's big, but like not a super jacked guy. So that was impressive. All right, now I have to pick a question. Yay. Mark, are you going to do a thing?
I can't think of a thing right now.
All right, let's do a next topic then.
I seriously thought that was a soundboard. That was you actually saying it, wasn't it?
It was me actually saying it. And because we kind of talked about it in one of the weirder games from this past football weekend, the 49ers absolutely dominated the NFC Championship Eagles 42-19. In a revenge game from last year's loss. The story from the game, however, is a sideline altercation between 49ers linebacker Dre Greenlaw and Big Philly Dom DeSandro. Dom DeSandro, unfortunately, is not a player, but he's the Eagles' security director and team senior advisor. So the fight itself was almost nothing, but the reason it's news is a specific clause in the NFL rulebook stating that non-player personnel are not allowed to make any contact or direct any abusive language at the players. So in a moment that must have been frustrating for both men, getting into a shoving match seems completely normal, but the NFL seems to want to make an example of DeSandro and Greenlaw to enforce sideline safety for both players and non-players alike. So I don't know if you guys heard about this, but what are our thoughts about this argument and the sideline fights, and how do we feel the NFL is going to respond?
This was almost a topic of mine, and I at the last minute did pull it. So I am prepared to talk about this.
Get it, Mark.
It's very unfair that I'm sorry. His name was what? Dom DeSanto? Is that what it was?
Dom DeSandro.
DeSandro.
A big Italian guy from Philly.
So keep in mind, Greenlaw, while he didn't really throw a full punch, he did kind of do a little punching motion, and it kind of grazed DeSandro's face. So in that instance, you're what? According to the NFL, you're supposed to just take it? I'm sorry, I'm not doing that.
Well, and so the Niners coaches are all pushing the fact that, how can our players be on the sideline getting people pointing in their faces, and just trying to really play up the rule and play off the fact that DeSandro's not a player, right?
Yeah, and I personally don't think it was fair. Listen, there's a lot of trash talk going on these sidelines. Okay, coaches and players. DeSandro really didn't do anything. He got his nose tickled by Greenlaw, and because of that, he got kicked out of the game, which I don't really think is fair.
And he's a big man, Dom DeSandro.
Big man.
Like
he's the chief security officer.
He could play offensive line, right?
Yeah. You also notice he had the Italian flag on his hat?
Yeah, I did. It did.
Yeah. That, I saw that too. It's like, John's going to mention this.
Totally.
So what do I think the NFL is going to do? I think the NFL is going to make an example out of him, unfortunately. Whether or not that means a suspension, I don't know, but maybe it'll just be a fine. We'll see.
Or do the rules on sideline personnel change? I mean, there's just so many people who have to be on the sideline who aren't players. Just so much.
I don't think this made enough of a splash for them to change the rules. But we'll see what happens. I don't know.
What do you think,
Steve? What do you think?
How many times has this happened before? Right, like I'm trying to genuine.
Well,
trying to think of,
how many times do coaches get in the faces of players? All the time, every single game. How many times has it made news?
Yeah,
this is the first time.
Yeah, but I think coaches are different than a security director.
Yeah, coaches are kind of players.
In some respects, yeah.
Right, like he's an employee. Not that they're not all employees; they're all employees. But he's not a part of the locker room, right? The people that are right. He's not a part of the locker room, and I think that's where the distinction for me kind of comes from. Like being a former player and being around, lots of people on sidelines before and all this other stuff. Like if there was somebody that was on the sideline that wasn't a part of the locker room and was acting as if they were a part of the locker room, we'd be like, go fuck off, dude. You haven't done jack. Right? Like, you've done nothing.
Yeah.
You've shown up with a nice shirt on. Good for you. Like, just go away. Right? Like, so that's just kind of where I take it. And I don't think the NFL should make an example out of this, because I don't think it should be allowed. The NFL is the NFL. It's not the WWE. And, there's and the other part, there is a player safety. Like, right, you've got a mountain of a man in pads that could crush you, and
I don't know. I think this other dude was a pretty big guy. I think he was actually bigger than Greenlaw.
Right, but what I'm saying, right? Like I could see.
But in general, most people are smaller than football players.
Exactly. Yes. So I don't know. I think the bigger. I think to just switch gears a little bit on NFL ruling, but is the kid that got suspended by the NFL,
The Tyreek
for
Hill, right?
Miami.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill thing.
That story is
That's
insane.
garbage, in my
I
opinion.
don't like that story at all. Like,
That's-
I get that, so he is there working for the NFL. He's supposed to be impartial and whatnot. So I kind of get why he got in trouble, and he says he kind of get why he got in trouble. But what did he really do? He took a video of a player.
He did his job.
with a cell phone. He did his job. He didn't. And yeah, all right. I guess he gave him a high five too. But come on, like of all the reasons to get rid of someone, especially like this guy was pretty good at his job too, and he had an in with a lot of different players.
Well, what's wild is they were friends in college, right? And
Yeah.
so that's why Tyreek went over. That's why he did something cool. He went right in, and the way he talks about it, he went right in, and posted the picture, and was really excited about it. And he was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. But in the grand scheme of things, what did he really do wrong? What like?
I don't think he
come
did
on.
anything wrong.
I don't think he's anything wrong either.
Uh,
Whatever. NFL's weird.
NFL is weird.
NFL's weird.
That's a good stop, and we are at time. We've got to do
All right.
good on time today, Mark. I'm trying really hard.
Steve, you want to try doing a next topic?
You don't have to say it in a weird voice. You can just say next topic. You have a good radio voice.
Sure. Next topic.
Nice.
So it looks like Brian Cashman isn't getting fired, as he just pulled off a much-needed trade with the lefty bat in Juan Soto. Now he deals some prospects and right-handed pitchers in return for Soto, and they also got outfielder Grisham. In a move to apparently get as many outfielders as possible, Cashman also traded for Alex Verdugo with, believe it or not, the Red Sox, and gave away even more right-handed pitchers. So I don't know. He's apparently trying to get all the outfielders, and he's getting rid of all his
We
right-handed
don't need
pitchers.
any pitchers. No pitchers at all.
No, right-handed pitchers. They'll keep the lefties. He's doing a complete opposite. I want all the lefties now. That's what Cashman's doing.
He's like, it was
Anyway.
bad last year? Right-handed hitters and pitchers. That was wrong. We're going to do the other thing.
So, everyone, should we consider the Yankees as a title contender with the acquisition of Juan Soto?
I mean, a 25-year-old lefty power hitter who
He's
can
only
run.
25.
I feel really good about it. I had to tell you, I wore my shirt in celebration. It fixes. I'm not going to be as strong as I talked to preseason last year, but it fixes the outfield problem. I mean, you got to remember, and I heard a lot of the complaining about giving up pitching, but you got to remember, the Yankees lost last year because they didn't score runs. They had a Cy Young winning starting pitcher who had an under 3 ERA. I think it ended at like 2.4, and he totally didn't cheat, Mark.
Right.
And I mean, I think that having an exciting, young, power-hitting lefty is one of the first steps in what they need. Now, do I need more outfielders in an already crowded outfield? I don't know. But of the power-hitting lefties that they could get, Juan Soto is a very, very good one.
You know the number one reason why I think this is a good move for the Yankees? This is a contract year for Juan Soto.
Yes,
And we all know what baseball players do during contract years.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, they look like they're Babe Ruth.
I mean, is he a rental? But could they win with him next year as a rental? Maybe.
Absolutely. But if he has a very good year, the Yankees are going to be one of the very few teams that can afford that big contract.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true. We don't give a shit about that luxury tax.
And then you still have that Japanese prospect,
Yamamoto.
Yamamoto.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Yamamoto's still Yankees very high on his list, according to what I've been reading. And that'll be great. I think they need. I think that they do need to definitely focus on the offense. As I said, that was the problem last year. But they also need to not forget about the pitching, because Carlos Rodon, as we've learned, not the solution.
Why haven't they traded him?
Because they gave him.
Do you think they've tried and no one really wants
they
to
gave him
eat
such
that
a big contract.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I have not been a fan of Brian Cashman for a very long time.
Why does he still have a
And
job?
I don't know.
Thank you.
That's very bad.
I just
I'm not even a Yankee fan, and I was like, I don't get why Cashman still works there.
yeah, I'm surprised that he's still there. And so it's been hard for me to cheer for the Yankees lately in the past few years, honestly,
Because they've been terrible.
Well, that's they've just been terrible. It's hard for me. Like if you're trying, right? Like I feel as if there's been many years where it's like, yeah, okay, you're trying. They've been trying to put something together
Sure.
instead of buying to get something together. And I think that that's what it's been. It's just like, well, we'll just throw money at it away. And I think that that's always been kind of how they were. But John, we got spoiled as Yankees fans for a while.
The 90s were
and
very good
we really missed
to us.
And in the early 2000s, even.
In the early 2000s.
And we, you know what? We miss it. We miss
It's 20
Come
years,
back
though,
up.
Steve. Ugh,
It was 20 years ago. Your last World Series
Yeah.
was 14 years ago.
So long.
The Red Sox have
See, we
won
missed
2
it.
titles since then.
I think that I am a little spicy, and I've told this to Mark, a little spicy about having this version of the team, the Aaron Judge team, but the good version of it that missed because the Astros were cheating. I feel that I feel that maybe Aaron Judge should feel bad about that because, I mean, he's, 30 now? And I mean, sure, he broke the home run title 2 years ago, but he's always injured, and he's old. I mean, in baseball years. And so maybe that window has passed. Would I like to have seen the Yankees do more rebuilding this year? Maybe. I don't, unfortunately, know if rebuilding, like doing a teardown in the New York baseball market is a possibility. I don't know if they're allowed to do that.
We have a Pirates fan listening to us right now. Hey, Ghoul, how are you doing? And he says that he feels attacked. Now, Eric, we would talk about the Pirates, but their whole team salary, I think, is worth 1 year of Aaron Judge's contract. Sorry.
Let's buy everybody.
I would, and you know what? I would love if the Pirates were actually a big World Series contender. I love it when small market teams stick it to those big market teams. I had a giant plan about 20 years ago. If I ever were to win the lottery, I would try to buy the Royals. And sure enough, the Royals in 2014, 15, I forget which year that was now, won the World Series. So and then they decided that they were going to go back to being the Royals. But so unfortunately, all we can do is talk about the Yankees because there's always stuff to talk about in the Bronx. Unfortunately,
I mean, I think they're going to do a lot more because I think that
they can't do any much worse.
I think that Baby Boss demands it. I think Hal Steinbrenner said that they were going to be changes, and Juan Soto is a big firework to start it with. And we're out of time. Out of time. Mark, do I have a baseball topic?
I don't know. Do you?
I don't know, man.
You gave up. You gave up the baseball topic to me too easily.
I did, but you wrote it already, and I didn't. I was just gonna bullshit. So, well, sure. There's my baseball.
You don't have to have a baseball topic.
No, but I have one. I knew I had one. I just had to find it. You gonna do a next topic, Mark?
Sure, I'll do a next topic.
All right. And so we're talking about baseball and we're talking about big signings. The 2024 MLB free agent market is expected to be quite competitive. So according to SportTrack, there are currently 280 players who become free agents in 2024. Some of the top free agents include Shohei Ohtani, Marcus Stroman, Joey Votto, Hyunjin Ryu, Clayton Kershaw, and many more, including the previously signed Juan Soto. It will be interesting to see which teams will be able to sign these players, how much they'll spend. And so the total spending on free agents during the 2023 offseason was $2.5 billion. Yes, billion with a B dollars. Will the 2024 offseason break this record? And where will some of the big names end up going?
So the biggest name really is probably Shohei. and we'll see how much he makes. I'm not going to talk a little bit too much about him because he's actually my next topic. But some of those other names that you mentioned, I don't know. Those aren't really the big contract names. And Juan Soto is going to get a big contract, but he's not a free agent until next season. So we'll see. Do I think? I think baseball owners, especially in certain cities, definitely still overspend on free agents. So we probably won't break the $3 billion mark. I think maybe next year we could do that, but we'll. I don't know. Baseball, I think I don't know where baseball gets all this money. Like, I can only imagine
nobody's
how
going
much,
right.
Nobody's and I mean nobody's really going to the games, and yet baseball salaries just keep going higher and higher and higher. So where are they getting all this money? Is it really from TV contracts? Because no one's really watching it on TV either. Where's baseball getting all this money?
Numbers still have to pick it up, right? Right, like regardless if people are still watching it, I think that the providers are still they've got to fork the cash over, right? They still have to get the rights to be able to do it.
True.
Right. So
that's not a good long-term plan though if people aren't watching.
Oh no, it's a horrible long-term plan.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's a good question. Where are they getting this money?
Well, I think the discussion of complex contracts that baseball is doing, long-term contracts, but with lots and lots of bonuses and little payment clauses based on performance. I think that's the way that they should be going, and a lot of teams are doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think baseball can learn a lot from the NFL and having more incentive-based contracts and not having them being fully guaranteed. Because as we mentioned before, the year that baseball players are all of a sudden superhuman are contract years when they're up for renewal.
Yeah, for sure.
When you have all the guaranteed money, sometimes some people just don't feel like you have to play for it, right?
So Shohei aside,
paid regardless.
You don't want to talk about Shohei. Who is going to be the next highest paid free agent in 2024?
I don't remember all the names.
And these are names like Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the starting pitcher from Japan that we've talked about.
I mean, Yamamoto's probably going to. Yeah, Yamamoto's probably going to.
Aaron Nola did re-sign with the Phillies, right?
He did.
Was his
relatively cheap too.
Yeah,
it was relatively cheap. I think. I don't remember off the top of the head, but I don't think it was really. I don't think it broke like $20 million.
So that's interesting, actually. But then offensive free agents coming up next year: Cody Bellinger, Matt Chapman, and then Blake Snell on the Padres. Too.
I was wrong. 7 years, $172 million.
So not a little, a lot.
Yeah, but definitely not as much as like what Shohei will get, what Juan Soto will get next year. Not Aaron Judge contract.
Yeah, I mean, an important piece in the Phillies puzzle. So it's good that they got him.
Yeah,
back for sure.
absolutely. I'm actually, so speaking of the Phillies, I'm actually very surprised how well they played last year and how well Bryce Harper has been kind of playing.
Because he's really such Bryce Harper.
I don't know. There's something about him I just don't like.
It's a little bit of a bully.
I don't know.
It's a little bit.
I don't know.
A little bit of a bully.
I also like to hate on the big contracts.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to get the most money, Steve? Besides Shohei, who will obviously get the most money.
I have not one idea, honestly. Like I don't.
It's got to be Yamamoto. I mean, because not only. I mean, are we going to include whatever the transfer fee is for Japan too?
I mean, probably.
Yeah. I mean, just about. And all right, John? Do you think the Yankees are going to get Yamamoto, or is he going to go somewhere else?
I think that Yamamoto will land in New York, but either on the Yankees or the Mets. And I think the Mets do have a good shot at him as well.
Yeah, because, Uncle Steve.
Well, Steve Cohen does want him. Recently flew to Japan to speak with him and his people. And so David Stearns, I think, is representing Yamamoto. And he discussed how good the meeting went. Of course he did, though, because his name is David Stearns. Jeff had mentioned, and I keep forgetting his name, but there is a player on the Mets who is very important in Yamamoto's baseball career.
Oh, that's right, because he was a fan of him.
Big fan, so that helps. I think that he will be very expensive. Another reason why he'll be either on the Yankees or the Mets. But you never know. Honestly, I mean, I just recently read. We talked about it last week. That the Blue Jays are an invisible front runner in the Shohei game.
Great segue, John. In fact, let's do the next topic. So we're going to talk about a little bit more baseball as we continue with the soap opera known as Shohei Ohtani. Now, the irony with that is that Ohtani is trying to avoid the drama by telling teams that he's targeted to be on the DL, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that because I did not do the right inflection there.
You're the right inflection.
Is Ohtani is trying to avoid the drama by telling the teams that he's targeted to keep everything on the DL, and he could potentially hurt a team if they spill the proverbial tea. Now, news has already spread of the teams he's interested in, including the Blue Jays, as John mentioned, Los Angeles Dodgers, Chicago Cubs, and of course the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. So everyone, is it bad for baseball for Ohtani to want to keep negotiations and meetings secretive?
Yeah, for sure.
Because people want to talk about Ohtani, right?
I think that the Ohtani. I was talking to Steve and his friend Craig about this on Tuesday. I think the Ohtani free agency could be one of the biggest stories in the offseason. And I mean,
absolutely.
I think the reason why we love the NFL, and you've talked about this, Mark, is that the offseason is still kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And so we need to get more talk about baseball, and having Ohtani, who is the most interesting player in the last 10 years.
He's by far the most interesting player in baseball right now.
Not want to publicize his free agency is bad. Empirically, I think.
Because people want to talk about Shohei. It's about everything that he does. He tore his pec. People were like, "Oh, well, is he still going to bat?" And yeah, he ended up batting. He didn't. Now he did end up getting shut down before the season ended. But I mean, people are still talking about him. It's because he is by far the most interesting player in baseball right now.
For sure,
the best two-way player we've had since Babe Ruth.
No. And maybe the only. I mean, it is very interesting.
No one's ever seen anything like this.
Yeah, nobody.
Well, we have, just not in a way that in Shohei. We have position players that will pitch in a game that's like when they're down by 20 runs, right? That's technically a two-way player. but Shohei is or Ohtani is a two-way player on purpose.
Well, he's a legitimate starting pitcher and a legitimate
starting pitcher
and a legitimate power hitter, which hasn't happened since the Babe. Truly, right?
So it'll be very interesting if this potentially new team, if they're going to want him to pitch and bat. Do we think that will be because he's going to have another Tommy John surgery?
Probably,
or he already had another Tommy John surgery.
I mean, I don't know. You know, if you have a Ferrari in your driveway, you drive it. Unless you don't.
Right, exactly. But you want to protect it too, don't you?
Yeah.
Ohtani is potentially going to have the first $500 million contract.
That's ridiculous.
Do you really want to put him out there to possibly get hurt?
I mean, why pay him $500 million?
Because he's potentially the next Babe Ruth, John.
But we're talking.
And I'm only playing devil's advocate.
Mark, we're talking in a circle now. You're saying he's valuable, and he's valuable because he's good, and he's good because he does both.
But Babe Ruth, what is Babe Ruth known for?
For being fat. and for doing both. I mean, he's known for hitting.
No. I'm sorry. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer because of the home runs. He was the all-time home run leader for years.
I mean, I think probably that Shohei is a better pitcher than the Babe was, comparatively with.
Yes, that is a truth fact.
I think that it's different because I think that Shohei could win 20 games too. I mean, I guess it depends on what your team needs. Some teams don't need. I mean, the Yankees need both. They need a 20-game winner and a 40-home run hitter, but some teams don't.
But the team that's probably going to win out is the team that's potentially going to pay him the most.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I hope it's not the Blue Jays. I hate the Blue Jays.
I don't see the Blue Jays doing that.
The Blue Jays are the new Red Sox.
I don't know. Like, what they have made some moves, but most of the moves that they've made have not worked out.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
Most of their good players are the homegrown players.
I agree.
With the exception of that they have no pitching though. That's what they need. Maybe that's why they want Shohei so much, because they want him to actually just pitch. Blue Jays have not had very good pitching. Like, they had Marcus Stroman for a little while, and then I think they burned him out, and then he's just been passed along to all these other teams since. But like, really, I can't name any other Blue Jays pitcher right now. I can name a lot of Blue Jays hitters. You have Vlad Jr. Yeah, I mean, they're the best second generation team in baseball, right? They got Bo Bichette. They got Craig Biggio's kid. I can't remember what his name is, but I'm pretty sure their entire roster is just second generation players.
Yeah, I don't recognize any of their players besides Jinrei. I mean, right? I think
all right. So where's Ohtani going to be next year? Where are we thinking?
He's going to go to a big market. He's going to go to somebody who can pay him a lot. I don't necessarily know if he was going to come to New York on either of the teams. I don't see them going after him.
I don't think he's going to New York.
Will he go up to LA? Maybe.
I think he's going to stay on the Angels. I really do.
I see. Listen, I don't understand the Angels. Probably, at least for the last 5 seasons, empirically the 2 best players in baseball, right?
Yeah.
But
although Mike Trout's on the down.
Mike Trout is on the down. But the idea of them both being on the same team and that team being mediocre and being mediocre for pretty much their whole time on it speaks to baseball's need for a complete roster, right? You just can't win with
they don't have pitching. You need
right?
pitching.
You just can't win like that. So you spend all your money on these 2 guys. It doesn't get you anywhere. I don't know. We'll see. My friend Mark likes to say, we'll see.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Time will tell. Time for the next topic.
Oh, George Pickens is sad.
George Pickens is always sad.
I don't think he likes being in Pittsburgh. It's still 21-10. It's still the same score since halftime.
So the only people that are worse than the Patriots are the Steelers. But the Steelers have a winning record.
That's not true.
The Steelers have a winning
record. The Steelers
record
do have
still.
a winning record.
That's crazy.
No, the worst team is the Panthers.
That's wackadoo.
You're wackadoo.
That is a true fact.
All right, so, and Mark's going to yell at me for bringing this up again, but it's really exciting. So, continuing our coverage of Tommy Cutlets DeVito and the New York Giants, head coach Brian Dable stated on Tuesday that he will continue to be the starter in Week 14. Having DeVito, while probably being the best chance for the struggling Giants to win, is also certainly happening to appease the hometown fans. So Tommy DeVito, I think we mentioned it last week, but for those who don't know, is a local legend, having won a state championship at powerhouse Don Bosco Prep High School and being born and raised in New Jersey. So I'm generally one of the more Italian guys who walk in a room. So, I mean, this story really, really appeals to me. Tommy DeVito is a long way from his NFL debut against the Jets, where he had -1 passing yard. But 3 games and 7 touchdowns later, how much of a pipe dream is the Tommy DeVito era of the New York Giants?
Such a pipe dream. And we kind of joked about this last week. They're just writing a movie right now that'll star Mark Wahlberg as Tommy DeVito. And they'll have to shoot him backwards so that he throws right-handed because he's a lefty. But I mean, come on!
I'd watch that movie.
I love that you are so excited.
About Tommy DeVito.
But come on, come on!
We'll see. I mean, we will see more on Monday. Playing the upswinging Green Bay
You say
Packers.
we'll see the more on Monday?
No, we'll see more of what is going on with Tommy DeVito on Monday. Because that defense is real. The Green Bay defense is real. I think the Green Bay offense is pretty real, even without Christian
Green
Watson.
Bay is an up-and-coming team.
I think
That's
so, too.
definitely one
I
of
think
the
so, too.
up-and-coming teams.
And so we'll see if he can throw against them. I think the one thing that makes me hopeful, and I'm not saying that the Giants are going to get into the playoffs this year because they're not, but the one thing that makes me hopeful about the New York Giants is that the O-line still sucked in those 3 games. I mean, Tommy DeVito got sacked 9 times against Washington, like a ridiculous amount, and he still managed to throw 3 touchdowns and win the game. So, I mean, the news media and me have been talking about how it's not really Daniel Jones' fault because his O-line is so bad, and his O-line is so bad. But maybe that's not the problem.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that my take is this, that the defenses have not had really, especially the first couple of games, didn't have enough film on him to really figure out what the hell he's doing.
DeVito?
Yeah, and maybe I don't think they even care.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's what happens a lot.
All right.
That happens a lot. They caught up to Joshua Dobbs. Joshua Dobbs looked like he was the answer in Minnesota. They caught up to him. And they do catch up to everyone who is mediocre because that's how good defenses in the NFL are.
All right. Actually, this is what I actually seriously think.
Mark wants to be a negative Nancy.
Joshua Dobbs. This is what I think would happen with Joshua Dobbs. The fact that he did not know the playbook helped him because essentially he just ran for his life, and he's just an incredible athlete that it worked.
Maybe.
And now that he knows the or kind of knows the playbook in Minnesota, I think that's where he was just trying to stick with the plays, and he should just be Josh Dobbs and just, do what he does. Okay.
Just
now
deal.
With Tommy DeVito, who are the teams that he's beaten?
Shut up. Don't shatter my dreams, Mark.
The Patriots and the Redskins.
They're not the Redskins anymore. Stop being so insensitive.
I'm sorry, the Commanders. That's the first time I've said that. I'm sorry.
I'm messing with you.
That's funny. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was like, I'm not. Yeah, of course.
They beat. Tommy DeVito has beaten terrible teams. Okay,
bad
You're
teams.
Right. This is his first opportunity to actually face a legitimate NFL team as opposed to the JV teams that he's faced.
I agree.
But I don't think you can penalize somebody for beating a team that's bad.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly. I just don't think that Tommy DeVito deserves all this praise because he's won these games while he's sleeping on his mom's couch
and eating chicken cutlets.
Eating chicken cutlets.
How much of the Tommy DeVito?
I would watch that movie though. I would watch.
Oh my god, in a heartbeat. How much of the Tommy DeVito story in New Jersey is the fact that fans are coming again and people are watching again and people are talking about the Giants again? I mean, how much of it is that? I think a lot of it, honestly.
The Giants are one of those teams people are always talking about the Giants. Sure. Come on, it's New York / New Jersey. So there's always something to talk about with regards to the Giants. I mean, well, and any NFL team for that matter. The worst NFL team is the Panthers. We still could talk about them, right? That's the one. We mentioned this. The one thing the NFL has over every other sport, there is something to talk about with every single team. Every single team.
Besides Bryce Young being short.
Especially the Giants.
I mean, I guess the thing we can talk about...
We'll never have to buy a beer again.
Oh, never. Never again in all of New Jersey will that boy have to buy a beer.
Never.
And I think that is incredible, honestly. Like, I talked to my very Italian cousin.
I'll admit, if I saw him, I would probably buy him a beer.
Yeah, hell yeah, you would. How much of the Giants' upswing, besides playing terrible teams, is Dexter Lawrence and Kevin Thibodeau and just the defense really coming on?
Oh, that D-line's sick.
Sick. Assassins.
Yeah.
Well, they're hungry. They know that anything that they've got to do to try to win is really on
it's relying on them. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Says the 10-7 game against the New England Patriots. Sad panda.
Got it done.
Got it done. There we go. Now he's making the face. I know I get it out of him. Steve, Mark, and I have been doing the New York, New England dance for a long time.
Oh my God!
Oh no!
I'm not turning this.
I'm watching the Thursday night game right now, and Pittsburgh decided that they were going to do a trick play on 1st and goal, and they had one of the wide receivers try to throw a pass, and he almost threw it right to a Patriot.
That happened on the Sunday night game. That the wide receiver,
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Josh Allen threw it right. Not Buffalo Bill Josh Allen.
Yeah, threw it right away. He was really directly to the guy. It's like, I haven't thrown a football in a really long time.
I'm sorry.
Guys.
It wasn't Josh Allen. I'm sorry. It was right to Miami. Alex Van Ginkel or Andrew Van Ginkel, something like.
You're a Van Ginkel.
Thank you.
Well, no reason beating a dead horse. We can move on. Go Tommy Cutlets. Side note, guys.
That is a true
Side note,
fact.
guys. Have you heard of Gridiron Heights on Barstool Sports? So Gridiron Heights is an animated football show that they're putting on. It's hilarious. You should look it up on YouTube. Anybody who's listening, who cares?
Bleacher Report, not a.
Jeez.
Barstool
Bleacher
Sports, not a sponsor.
Oh yeah.
Is it Bleacher Report or Barstool? Anyway.
It is one of them.
It doesn't matter. Ready?
Hello. Do you have a next topic? I do.
Apologies, by the way, for me screwing up the stream for a second.
All right, so I'm going to bring a little local flair to this podcast. It's time to bring up a topic that we don't discuss a lot. Ready, John? Horse racing!
What?
It was announced this past week that the Belmont Stakes will take place in Saratoga Springs next year, with Belmont Park located in Elmont, New York, and now undergoing a $455 million renovation project. The ponies needed a new site to partake in the third leg of the Triple Crown. While this may not seem like a big deal aside from, the other two people on this podcast with me, there's a bit of a controversy as Saratoga's track is a quarter of a mile shorter than the one at Belmont. So everyone, are we excited about the Belmont Stakes taking place in nearby Saratoga Springs? And could there be controversy with the shorter track?
I mean, Belmont's a mile and a half. It completely
Belmont's a mile and a half.
Completely changes it.
Yeah.
For someone who has been at the Travers and been at the Belmont, there are two completely different things. And to be honest, I don't know if Saratoga as a city can absorb that amount of people. I mean, if you've been... Okay, so for anybody who doesn't live in the Northeast, Belmont Park is on Long Island. Belmont Park is probably... there's two race tracks on Long Island. Belmont is closer to the city. Aqueduct is a little further. And so New York racing, specifically, it rotates from Aqueduct to Belmont to Saratoga, and it goes back again.
John is an element right now.
And so... here's the thing. A mile and a half. Okay. So to make it simple, a furlong is an eighth of a mile. And so a mile and a half is a mile and 4 furlongs. And so they would have to go around. I'm going to look up how long the Saratoga track is. You have to go around it a lot of times.
A mile and a quarter. A mile and a quarter is what Saratoga is. And they would shorten it. The Horse Racing Federation or whatever they're called. There's actually, I guess, some kind of thing that they're doing right now that the Belmont will, the Belmont at Saratoga will be a mile and a quarter. They're not going to lengthen the track.
I mean, they're not going to lengthen the track, but they have to make them go around more. But here's the problem with that, okay? So the reason the Triple Crown is so hard is because the Triple Crown is 3-year-old horses, and they're racing lengths that they've never raced before. And so that's really to test their skill as a horse. And so this would totally make an asterisk Triple Crown. Because the mile and a half, none of them have ever raced a mile and a half before. And so it just takes away the bite of it completely. I have gone from kind of into it to completely against it.
They did a shortened Belmont a couple years ago. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was stupid then too. I do remember it.
Yeah, but I would agree with you, John, with Saratoga not being able to handle the traffic. I think that
No way.
it seems as it is.
There's like one road to get into the park, right?
One road?
Yeah. Now, I will say this, though. It will be it will be really great for Treehouse when they move in there.
Mm-hmm.
So just saying, that's going
Now,
to be incredible.
Yeah.
so I have a stupid question. Now,
Yeah.
you mentioned the Travers, which is at Saratoga every year.
Mhm.
Don't you have the same kind of trainers and jockeys and all the teams at the Travers that you would at the Belmont?
So what
Or
happens?
Is there...
What happens with the Triple Crown is that the 3-year-olds, all the best 3-year-olds in all of horse racing, they come to the Triple Crown. And normally, what happens is the Kentucky Derby. They start with like 16 horses.
There's a lot of horses.
A lot of horses in
the
the
Derby.
Kentucky Derby. And so the Preakness, which is in Maryland, they go to the Preakness and there's less, right? The winner comes of the Kentucky Derby, and then the horses that do good, and maybe some new horses will get added. And then the least amount of horses, they'll go to the Belmont. And so the Travers is really for the horse that did kind of the best. You think of horse racing like tennis majors. You win the most and you win Horse of the Year, and Horse of the Year comes with a bonus. And so generally the Travers is like for the horse who didn't win the Triple Crowns, doesn't get won a lot, to come to Saratoga and kind of do a victory lap and win that race and then become Horse of the Year.
Okay.
But yes, and so what I mean is same teams.
But you have all the big names at the Belmont.
Same jockeys, same trainers, same horses. Generally not all of them, but generally the one who did the best and the one who did the second best. Generally the one who did the best becomes the favorite. So if like somebody won the Triple Crown, obviously they'd go to the Travers. It's a different track though. It's shorter, the turns are tighter, it's muddier.
Would either of you guys go to the Belmont?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I've been to the Kentucky Derby, really a lot of fun. I've been to the Belmont.
You have? I didn't know you've been to the Derby.
Years ago. I've been to the Belmont more recently. It's just
Did
easier.
you dress up? Did you bring a fancy hat?
I drank a lot.
Yeah, but
So
Steve, what about you? What about you? Do you into horse racing at all?
I mean, a little bit, enough to be dangerous. But I love the idea. I love the idea of this. I think that, unlike John, I'm kind of warming up to it, right? Like I think that because I think horse racing has really had a lot of negative press for quite,
yeah.
in the last few years, right? I think that anything to help generate something more for them, it's going to be good. With Saratoga being a historic racetrack, I think it's going to come. I think it's going to be a good thing. I think at the end of the day, when you kind of take a step back, I think this is just going to be for everybody. But it is going to have an asterisk, right? Like you have a triple crown one, and you're like, yeah,
but no,
it has to get that far first. All right, it's been a while since we've had the same horse.
But we've had lots of twos.
But not
twos.
recently. Not
Yeah.
recently.
I don't know about
We'll
that.
We'll see.
Well,
What do you mean not?
can we? I agree that it will be wonderful for racing, wonderful for New York State racing, wonderful for Saratoga. It'll make a ton of money. People love an excuse to go to the track. The track is really a lot of fun. When can you mix gambling, animal loving, not loving so much?
Animal loving. Don't phrase it like that.
Not so much. Listen, my mother goes to the track because she loves horses. Okay, I'm just saying. That's why I mentioned.
Yeah,
it.
but that's not how you phrased it.
You just shut up. Nobody even likes you. And beer. I mean, just like it's a really.
all the alcohol.
It is a very
All the
fun. It is a
alcohol.
very fun day.
There is a potential, by the way, that this could happen 2 years in a row because the big renovation project is supposed to take a couple of years. So if it's successful next year, it'll probably be at Saratoga again.
I think though.
Time will tell.
Where else could they do?
I think the real problem is where is all this money coming from? The private organization that ran New York State Racing, the NYRA, they don't exist anymore. They ran out of money, and so the state picked it up like 3 years ago, and so they've been running the NYRA, which is
Coming from somewhere.
fine, but I mean, I don't know if the attendance for New York State Racing is up. I think it's down.
Well, we'll see what happens at the Belmont, won't we?
Time will tell.
Well, but is the betting up?
Time
Or is the betting?
will tell.
Yeah, I mean,
right? Is the betting up?
That's true.
Right.
No, that's true. With
Right.
with all the thing with
Right.
online betting now, you don't need to go to the track to bet in
Yeah.
the horses, do you?
I mean, you haven't had to go to the track to bet the horses in 20 years.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, but more people can do it now on their
Listen,
phone,
OTB
so
is
it's just
sad, but people go to the OTB. We, in Albany, Steve and I, we have one of the nicest OTBs in the Northeast.
We should move on.
By the closed ShopRite. We lost ShopRites, you guys. I'm so sad.
What happened to ShopRite?
All our ShopRites left. They were like, nah, this place sucks. Fuck those
We
guys.
got stuff closing down all over the place around here. We got ShopRite's closing. We got colleges closing. We've got
Oh, St.
Those
Rose.
stores
I couldn't
closing.
believe this
Right.
St. Rose closed.
Yeah. The mayor sent all residents an email being like, hey guys, we're sorry.
yeah, this is bad.
Bad. All right. You going to do a next topic for me, Mark?
No, I'm not going to do a next topic.
Oh, come on, man. All right.
I'm so glad we can amuse ourselves.
Press the soundboard then. I'll do it later.
No, I literally that was the next topic. I said it.
No, I missed it.
All right, how about this one then?
Get the next topic now.
I was messing. All right. So investors and celebrity chefs flocked towards ghost kitchens during the pandemic. They're expected to make up more than 20% of the restaurant industry by 2025. But as of recently, ghost kitchens are now crashing. Last week, Kitchen United, which raised $175 million in funding and was backed by Kroger, the grocery store, announced it would close or sell all of its locations. Ghost kitchens were seen as a salvation for the industry during the pandemic, where more than 70,000 restaurants, I was surprised by that stat, 70,000 restaurants permanently closed. So why do we think the low upfront cost of ghost kitchens are failing? Do you frequent or even know of any in your areas?
No.
Do you know what a ghost kitchen is, Mark?
I had no idea what a ghost kitchen was until you sent or Colin sent that to us. I had no idea what that was. That must be like a New York City thing or something like that. Because regular restaurants in this area during the pandemic were still open to an extent. You know, you had to have like the plastic shielding and whatnot at the beginning, and then after a while, everyone's like said, well, screw this. We're just going to be open and we'll just live with the consequences. So, I mean, yeah, I did not hear of a ghost kitchen. I had no idea what that was.
So what's really interesting
until
about
that
ghost
was.
kitchens, Mark, if you frequent Grubhub, Uber Eats, any place like that, ghost kitchen, for anybody who doesn't know, is a restaurant that exists only on those services, and they make their food out of kitchens that already exist, saving all that upfront cost of staff, all their upfront rent costs, stuff like that. So ghost kitchens that you might have eaten at Mr. Beast Burger, Tenderfix, Burger Den, Kitchen United, Karma Kitchen. There's a place called Secret Sauce Barbecue. Most of them are supported by major chains. There's Buca de Beppo by us. Applebee's hosts them a lot. Chili's hosts them a lot. Just big kitchens, right? And the idea was that to keep the restaurant industry going, we would just send our food and our recipes to a restaurant with staff already and with stoves already. But what's going on is people kind of feel that it's like, where is my food being made? So the story goes that people are feeling a little bit cheated and kind of weirded out, I guess, by the fact that they want to go pick their food up and they can't.
And so the more I learned about ghost kitchens, and I was just reading a little more up on about it, and I was seriously like, this was a thing? Like, people really thought this was going to be something that would last a long time.
You made a lot of money.
I get during the pandemic, people wanted to eat out still, and what was open at the time? Ghost kitchens were, right? Because other places couldn't be open. Now, what is when you think about the nuts and bolts of it all, what is really the difference between a ghost kitchen and a regular restaurant that was just doing takeout?
I mean, there's nothing.
Not a lot. There's nothing different about it. And when you come down to it, a lot of people, especially when eating out, they're gonna wanna really, well, maybe I shouldn't say a lot, but most people I know, I think, would want to benefit the local business. they want to benefit, the mom and pop restaurant down the road from them. That's how I feel anyway.
Mm-hmm.
There's a restaurant that I walk to that's a block away from me. It's a local joint. It's the only one. The guy that runs it, he owns a couple places, but it's a small business still. So, and I feel fantastic giving my business to them. Shout out to the social, if they're listening. Not a sponsor.
Of course they are.
And so I'm always going to feel comfortable giving my money to them. Even during the pandemic, I would rather do takeout, even though I don't really do Grubhub or DoorDash anymore because they mark up the prices and there's that extra fee with associating with DoorDash and Grubhub, and then you have to tip on top of that. I don't like to deal with them anymore. I'd rather deal with an actual human being and not have to spend an extra $10-$20 on the same meal I would have gotten had I just called the restaurant.
So pro tip from your friends at If These Balls Could Talk: if you sign up for Amazon Prime, Twitch, and Prime will give you a Grubhub Plus membership for free for 1 year. Which is, and then when I got my Grubhub Plus membership for 1 year, I got a second membership because they were just like, "Hey, you're still using this. You guys want to just keep ordering?" I'm like, "Yeah, hell yeah, that sounds great."
Still to me not worth it. There's only one place I order on Grubhub, and that's Indian food.
Did you know that today, my poor Jamie just got braces yesterday, and her face hurts. Poor Jamie. And she was feeling sad about her face hurting, and she wanted something she could eat, so I ordered smoothies on Grubhub because I couldn't get out, and they came in 20 minutes, and they were delicious.
Poor kid. How long does she have to wear braces for?
So long.
Oh,
I told her she's in for 1.5 years.
Did I really just talk about ghost kitchens for 5 minutes?
We did.
No, did I talk about it? Because I don't think Steve said anything.
I mean, I have us at a minute 50, so Steve has tons of time.
I didn't reset my timer.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry, I'm new here.
No, I think looking at, Mark, to your point, right? I really think that people are like, look, we were cooped up for too long, and we ate barely decent food when we did get takeout, and I think people are ready to get back to dining, not like super fancy, but just they want something simple and good by a rock star chef to say, I went out to eat last night by so-and-so, right? Well, when I say fancy, I mean I'm talking like the tablecloths and the whole all that, stuff, right, kind of thing.
Mark went real fancy the other day.
I did that last week.
Oh man.
Actually, I got a funny story. I was dating this girl, and I knew it was kind of I didn't think we were gonna last. And when the bill came, I knew exactly we weren't gonna last because the bill altogether came to about $140, which it was a nice restaurant, so that's nice and whatnot. But it was not a 50-50 split with regards to the meal. So her portion was $20 and mine was $120.
Mark, tell our friends what you did.
What do you mean what I do?
I mean,
I ordered
awesome.
a really nice meal. I ordered a really nice meal, and I ordered steak, and it was a couple of really nice sides, and I had some wine.
But this was not your $43 glass of whiskey.
Oh no! That was actually before that.
Nice.
So while I was waiting for her to come because she was running a little late, I decided to get a drink at the bar. I saw a Japanese whiskey that I really liked. If you guys follow us on our socials, you know what I'm talking about. I ordered a $43 glass of Japanese whiskey, which I did not realize was $43.
Yeah, you did, bro.
It was. I gotta tell you, it was really good.
$43 good?
I would say it was $43.
Yeah. Good for you, man. Good for you. That's awesome.
It was right. I should have. It was. So I don't know how much Blue Label is now by the glass. It's got to be what, $40 a glass, I would say.
Still about.
It's about on par.
It's low 200s for a 750.
I mean a glass at a bar. Mm-hmm. I would say that this Japanese whiskey was better than Blue Label.
Hell yeah. For smoothness or flavor profile?
Everything. Everything.
Nice. Sometimes the few times I have had blue is very, very drinkable for something that's like 75 proof. I don't necessarily know if it's my favorite flavor profile though. It doesn't taste.
It's not mine.
It doesn't taste like an awful lot.
It's good.
I mean, it's good because it's easy to drink. But I don't know. Do you drink whiskey, Scotch, Steve?
Once in a while.
Yeah.
What is your drink of choice?
It used to be beer, but I can't drink it anymore. It's the weirdest thing.
Sad panda.
Yeah, you used to brew, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is sad.
Yeah. No, now it's pretty much just like wine and tequila.
Drinking efficiently.
What kind of tequila?
I like that.
What kind of tequila?
I'll usually just go with like a Patron, pretty much.
Oh, I love Patron.
Crazy.
Just Patron.
Which one? Silver? Anejo?
Oh, silver. No, silver. Yeah, just whatever.
I love a good.
What else?
I love a good Anejo.
Yeah.
The older, the better.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was it? What was the topic we were talking about?
Ghost kitchens.
Ghost kitchens.
All right, Mark, bring us home, baby.
When do you bring us home?
You're on. This
is my last topic.
This is
but
5.
It's not the last topic.
That's because we're not singing.
Last topic.
We sing
not
at the end.
last
We
topic.
sing at the end, Scott.
Oh
Christy.
yeah. All right. Do we have a next topic?
Do we have a next topic? I'll give you a next topic.
So good old former Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker wants to make waves in college sports. He's recently proposed changes to NIL that essentially has the schools giving the ability to pay their athletes. It has been reported by multiple sources that these schools would set aside as much as $30,000 per athlete for at least half of the roster on an annual basis. Now, the potential upside to this is due to Title IX that female athletes would get the same treatment as their male counterparts and would have to get paid equally. So, everyone, what are our thoughts on the NCAA proposing changes to NIL? Have you guys heard about this?
No. I really like NIL. Honestly,
So essentially this is just a way for colleges. Now, I guess it's not all of them. It's going to be mostly Division 1 and it's only going to be a subset of Division 1 schools. There's going to be a subdivision. I don't know what any criteria associated with that, but there's going to be a kitty for them to pay their athletes.
So we'll talk about the positives first. Actually, let's Steve start. Steve can start.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, the paying of athletes in college is been long overdue. They have been completely taken advantage of forever. I mean, just look at jersey sales. I grew up near Syracuse, and the number 44 jersey is extremely popular still there. But Jim Brown has not seen a dime from that, right? Like that's right. That, I mean, so it's been long overdue. So I'm glad to see that it's there, and I love to see that we've got certain athletes. There's actually some of the athletes have done some really amazing things with what they've gotten this year, and giving back into their school themselves. And I think it's great social cash for them to do that. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I mean, if you're going to college as a business major, you can start your own business, and why? If there's a way for them to make money because of their likeness and all of those things, then they absolutely 100% should. Good.
I agree completely. I mean, it's their time, and we go over this time and time again, but especially for let's just say running backs, your time in the spotlight is limited. I mean, you do an incredibly hard thing. It's incredibly hard on your body, and if you get injured by the time you're 26, I know Tua's doing very well now, but Tua last year, if you're Tua last year and you're thinking about quitting before you're making your big sum, your life-changing sum, I mean, that's really sad. And so I think that this is also giving a chance for the women to make a lot of money. The Cavendish twins are very, very well supported. There is a number of track and field female athletes that are getting signed by Nike. I think that there is no reason that they shouldn't profit off their own likenesses. Like, you have these kids that are in their, late teens, early 20s, and they're getting kind of taken advantage of by major, like, multi-million-dollar organizations. I mean, that shit needed to stop a long, long time ago, because the kids don't know better. I mean, they're kids still. You're not grown at 22, and you're out of college. So, the concern that I think a lot of people have that we should probably talk about is, what does this do for, like, competitive, like, fairness, I guess, in college sports? If you have a college that is very profitable with 50,000 kids that are charging $40,000 to $60,000 a year, I mean, you can just have a better sports team if you start paying.
Well, think about the Division I schools out there. I mean, you have like the University of Texas, who have big boosters as well. So a lot of people backing them, and they've already been taking advantage of the NIL deals. Versus another Division I school, let's say the University of Washington.
Right.
So, I mean, that's definitely two different sets of alumni. There's a lot of more money backing Texas than there is Washington.
I mean, you break it down even further, and you have these Division I teams that will fill a 60,000 person stadium every weekend for 3 months. I mean, the profit margins are ridiculous in college football.
So this is what I actually think that this rule is really going to help out the Washingtons versus the Texas, because the Texas, like I said, they have the backers already. They have that giant pool of money. They swim around like Scrooge McDuck back in the day. But the University of Washington probably they need a way to compete with that. So I think this is a way to help them compete. Now, I've always gone back and forth. I have been a huge proponent of not paying college athletes, and here's the reason why. The NCAA is supposed to essentially represent all college sports, not just the ones that make them money. So the money that football and basketball get is supposed to help pay for other sports that don't necessarily make a lot of money. You have, the soccers, the lacrosses, the baseball, the crew. Yes.
There we go.
All those sports that don't make money or as much money as swimming. I'm sorry, as swimming. I just happen to swimming is another Division I sport. As much as football and basketball. So the money that those bring in are supposed to help pay for those sports. So the thing that I really am reluctant to really say that this is a good thing is I'm afraid that those sports are going to go away from some schools now, because now they have to use this money to pay the athletes. Because the overwhelming majority of college athletes are not going to be professionals, and they're not going to get paid. Now, jersey sales are completely different, I think. Listen, I'm sorry. If people are buying your jersey, you should get paid for that. But this is something completely different. This is something that it has nothing to do with potentially who you are. It's just we want you to be affiliated with our school. I don't know. I'm really torn on this topic because I'm afraid of what is going to happen with the other sports. Really, in all seriousness.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point.
I don't know if we're going to see sport. Sorry, go ahead, John.
No, I was just agreeing. You go. You have a thing to say.
No, I think that the other sports going. I think that I don't see that those sports are going to go away. I feel, if anything, they'll shift from those pockets of schools that don't traditionally maybe have a program, or they want to have, let's say, lacrosse, right? And they know that, the funds are being shifted at these larger schools. Well, hey, let's now, okay, so the competitive landscape will just change, because those athletes are still going to be there. They still have somewhere. They still have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Like those programs in high school aren't going to go anywhere. So those student athletes are still going to be coming into the college system. They may just not be going to Syracuse to play lacrosse, because that money is being funneled more to the basketball program. Maybe they'll be going to instead Lemoyne, and then or something like that. the sport's going to be there. I think we're just going to see a birth of different areas where it's going to.
Well, yeah, I mean, so all right. So let's say it's going to be as much as 30,000 per athlete, and they're going to give that to, say, I don't know, 100 different athletes. So that's $3 million. Did I do that math right? I think I did that math right. That's $3 million. Now, if it comes out of the school's budget, that just means they have to move that $3 million around. Now, if it's going to come from the NCAA, that's a totally different story. That means that the school itself isn't going to lose any money because details of this whole plan have not really been laid out. If it's coming from the school, I'm sorry, programs are getting cut. That's obviously what's going to happen. $3 million is think about that field hockey team. Because keep in mind, a Division I school, Division I for all sports. That's what a Division I school is. With the exception of some, like the one the school that John and I went to, hockey was the only Division I sport. Everything else was Division III. But if you are a fully Division I school, every single sport that you have is a Division I sport. And if you are part of, say, the field hockey team, which doesn't pull in as much revenue as, say, a football team or a basketball team, that program is potentially going to go if you're losing out on $3 million.
Okay. I mean, and unfortunately, the programs that don't make money are going to continue to not make money. I mean,
absolutely,
nobody watches.
But they're just going to get cut.
College
Again,
swimming.
There's a $3 million pie that's got to come from somewhere. Oh, we're going to give it to the basketball athletes now, and I'm sorry, we gotta pull all the expenses from the programs. That
I clearly
don't make
know
money.
you're not making decisions on this policy, Mark. But like, do all the athletes get paid? There's tons. Like, if you go to like a University of Texas, right? Or like Ohio State, or just like a big school with a lot of kids. I mean, sure, the basketball team gets paid, and sure, the football team gets paid, but does the the pickleball team get paid? Do the swimmers get paid? Does the volleyball
exactly.
team get paid?
So it's up. So from what I read, it was, so let's say you have a set of athletes, so only a portion of those athletes can get paid. It didn't say across all sports. It just said a portion of all of your college athletes. So there's a lot of specifics that need to be worked out still, I believe, and Charlie Baker is supposed to actually kind of do a little speech and announce about his plan a little bit more about how it's going to get laid out.
I mean, the fairness
so
of it
a lot
seems
of this
really
is speculation.
problematic. Like the fairness of it.
Fairness, absolutely.
Who decides who gets paid? I mean, I picture.
And had it not be for Title IX, a lot of the female athletes would probably lose out on some of it because they would just take that money for the male athletes.
I don't know. I just picture like walkouts and strikes and picket lines for like.
Exactly. Well, that's the whole thing.
For the swimmers,
is a college athlete considered an employee of the college?
Right. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why they didn't want to pay him.
And that's also kind of sideways because and the reason that like NIL style like like the Nike contracts thing, the stuff like that, I think is better because at least the kids are getting stuff out of them and not being employees. Because I think honestly, if you make like a 20-year-old choose between a final that they're there to do and a football game that they're getting paid to do, and if they're paying them, right, that the schools are they're treating them like employees. I don't like that at all either. It's kind of not the reason they're supposed to be there. I mean, it is a little bit. It is their careers. Like all these guys there are going to be professional athletes, but maybe not, and maybe not forever. And we're at time.
We've been so out of time.
We like to end it on a zinger. Gotta end it on a zinger. You're totally off key, Mark.
It's the final topic.
It doesn't ever get better, Steve. We've been practicing for a full year. It doesn't ever get better, but that's what makes
it's the issue with being remote versus being in person.
Yeah, that's what makes it great, though. That's what makes it great.
No, John, that's what makes you great.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, man. And I know we already got our dose of AI, but we're going to do a little more. At a time where the cult of Sam Altman and OpenAI is running strong, Google continues to struggle to keep up with its own iterations of the completive chatbot large language model. Google has delayed the public release of its hotly anticipated AI named Gemini until next month due to concerns about its performance. Researchers found that Gemini
Because it sucks.
because it sucks. Research didn't reliably find Gemini handling non-English queries. Google had planned to host a series of events slated to take place in New York, Washington, D.C., and California, and will at release have access to Google's endless reams of internet data. And so, with Amazon also ready to release an AI backbone with AWS directly to enterprises, how important is it for Gemini to be an instant success? And are we concerned about the access it will have with Google's endless information sources?
I mean, it's very important, right? What everyone talks about ChatGPT. I've said this before. I'll keep saying it. I think people say ChatGPT more than they do Google now. And I mean, it's kind of revolutionized Bing, right? I think people are using Bing a lot more than they are Google now because of ChatGPT.
Bing Chat's awfully cool.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at my home Windows 11 machine, and Copilot has finally arrived. Copilot, essentially ChatGPT for inside of your computer.
We use Copilot at the company I work at.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, Google definitely has to get this right? Because Microsoft is they have while how much we love Sam Altman.
We love Sam Altman. Steve asked me why I hate Sam Altman this week, by the way. I mean, I don't hate Sam Altman. He's just a terrible person.
You hate Sam Altman. You literally called for his assassination on this podcast multiple times.
Only twice. And it just slipped out.
That's more than once. That's multiple times.
It's premeditated now. You better not.
It's just slipped out, he says.
He better not die.
Yeah, if he dies, it's not John's fault. Maybe a little bit.
I mean, it's all the way in Silicon Valley. How could I have pulled that off?
But Google has to get this right. People, all right, the bar is ChatGPT. Okay? Yeah. Is there any other AI out there right now that's up to the level as ChatGPT?
I mean, and I just explained this to someone, actually. I'm on the...
Claude is probably the closest.
Yeah, I'm on the...
And how many times have Google tried, had a certain version of AI and it's just failed, right?
But Bard is terrible. I mean, Bard is
terrible.
Bad. And it feels like a CS project, like something that I coded when I was in college.
Sorry, I'm looking at the last minutes of the seconds of the Thursday Night Football. The Patriots might win. Steve, talk about AI.
So, Bard, when it came... Good.
Yeah, no, but I think Claude is probably the next best large language model. That's to me is probably the next one that can kind of right now go toe to toe with ChatGPT. I think Gemini's got a long way. They've shown that, but I agree. Like, if they don't get this right, this could really be the demise of Google, because then they'll never be able to get out of their own. Everybody else is just going to go light years fast.
Well, the story goes to Bard came out. They rushed to Bard to try to keep up because they knew they were scared reasonably of the loss of like the search engine, right? And because that's where we're going. We're going to single answers from single questions conversationally, so people don't have to search for things through 20 pages anymore. And so they rushed to Bard, and Bard, in the initial chat demo or tech demo, if you guys remember, got a bunch of stuff wrong. It said a bunch of stuff that wasn't true. So I just looked it up to be sure. The Bard flubs lost Alphabet $160 billion in valuation. Like, what?
It's a lot.
That is an incredible sum of money. That's more than most countries are worth that they lost because
That's more than my bank account.
that their software project just kind of screwed up. Pete's here. Hey, Pete. Right at the end, buddy.
I mean, so clearly Google has to get it right. I mean, is Gemini? We don't know if Gemini is the answer either, but Google has to have something in order to compete with the ChatGPT. Now, thankfully, Google is Google, and Bing is Bing.
Right.
So they have that going for them.
So interestingly, and I noticed this today, and I think it was new today because I'm on Google every day. But interestingly,
Every day. I use Chrome too. I'm not using fucking Edge.
My Chromed Google it has Bard at the top of it now, and so what it has is it has a generative AI addition to your search where it gives you information based on your search and kind of just like as an add-on. So, I mean, I think that's pretty cool. It is a little scary because this is the thing that I'm really concerned about, the day that large language models have the extent of the internet open to them is the day we're closer to Skynet. I mean, it just is.
Yeah, but it's not making decisions for human beings yet.
And so that's the problem too, because we know that the writing on the internet is poor. We know that a lot of monsters exist on the internet, and so
so many lies.
And so like if we take an imperfect source of information and we use it to superpower up a rogue sentient being, I mean, like, Jesus Christ, what are we doing? We're just creating murder bots. That's all that's happening. Pete, are you scared of the murder bots? I know you are.
Of course he is. Do you either of you guys watch Last Week Tonight with John Oliver?
Mm-hmm.
Are you caught up?
Yeah. What was this last? Wasn't this last?
So, well, there was a little segment on where he has and now this segment where I guess all of the news segments when they talk about AI, they compare everything to Skynet. And they compare everything to Terminator.
How far away are we really? Like, do we really think that Mr. Ethics Sam Altman hasn't already talked to the federal government?
You love Sam Altman.
Or Sam Altman. Forget the federal government. Has Mr. Ethics Sam Altman not already talked to Boston Dynamics? Like, is there not already a fully functional robot with an AI in its head making decisions?
Just think of the worst thing in the world with regards to AI.
The worst thing in the world.
Pretty sure Sam Altman.
Because here's the thing, right? The Titan bot can do backflips and it can lift pretty much anything. And the little dog bots, they run 40 miles an hour. So we're fucked, you guys. We're fucked.
That's why when you're chatting with large language models, be really nice to them.
Really nice to them.
They're always listening. Really nice. The robots are always listening.
My ChatGPT profile, I created a fake currency, and I always tip my ChatGPT bot.
You do? That's amazing. That's amazing. Listen to this. Steve was telling me he has scripts to create people and have those people answer questions. So he programmed. God, explain it.
A profile.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I want to, all right. So I needed to push the school administration in the direction that I needed them to go. And so, but I am not smart, and I am not very articulate either. However, ChatGPT and large language models are, and so basically I started telling it to be a person, and I would create this person. So I was like, I need you to act as if you are a lawyer who is in your mid 40s. You are married with 2 kids. You have a wife that went to college with Vassar, and I built this person and this profile. I gave it a box to sit in and said, Now I want you to do this in this way. And now I want you to write me a letter. It's not really smart, basically.
Jesus, that's so smart, dude.
My-
That's such a good idea. I just really, really like that a lot.
I just was just like, this is how you need to sound.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it probably would have taken me a lot less time to just write the damn thing, but I was having way too much.
Nah, that's a cool experiment. And really, and what people are doing with large language models is they're doing this kind of like real text programming and solving problems just through explaining and talking through logic statements. And so I think that is a really good use of them, honestly.
Oh my God, the Patriots just won.
Oh shit. Hey Mark, we're out of time, buddy.
You're out of time.
I'm always out of time. Out of time for you.
Nice. You ready, John?
No, I'm not. Pete, I'm gonna
You
screw
may
up
go really
again.
slow on the outro.
No, I think you gotta go faster. A little faster than the slowness that you went last time. So we're gonna try this, okay?
What you talking about?
Well, we were behind last time because you went too slow.
You're behind. You're behind.
All
right.
Pete just needs you to do the magic that he always says you do. All right, I'm gonna start now.
So that has been our 10 topics. I think you started too early. So that has been our 10 topics. We would like to thank our guests for joining us this week. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Please
Thanks very much, guys.
Please subscribe to us by clicking that little bell or follow or like us on our socials at If These Balls Pod on X, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and now TikTok. Our website is www.iftheseballscouldstalkpod.com. This is Mark Pescian for my partner John Campagna. That's what we feel they would say if these balls could talk. Everyone.
I screwed up again. No. Good night, everybody.
Jeffrey Ford.